Here we go. Hey, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Jasmine checking in on this. What is it today? It's Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Getting my days all mixed up here. It is Wednesday. So, Jasmine checking in on this wonderful Wednesday. I'm going to be going back and forth between both cameras because I'm on LinkedIn and YouTube and all of the things here. And then to all of my Instagram people, I'm with you on this camera. So, I'm streaming to multiple cameras at the same time. If you're on Instagram, I'm on a mic. Please let me know in the comments if you can hear me. If you are tuning in through Instagram, please let me know if you can hear me or not. Just put yes in the comments or no. Okay. Please let me know if you can hear me or not. If you're on Instagram. Okay, awesome, Kimberly. Thank you for letting me know. All right, so for everyone who is new to me, my name is Jasmine Womack, and I am the CEO of the Impact Group. I work with leaders and help leaders to transform their $1 million message and their expertise into a best-selling book, become a sought-after speaker, and then create high-ticket coaching programs based on their experience and their expertise. And so I wanted to come on today to really talk about this because I've been encountering this from people. And yesterday, somebody sent in a pretty lengthy email, somebody just random on the email list. And what they said kind of honestly astounded me. And it made me realize that I really needed to talk about this phenomenon more, because I think that when it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of people have some different misconceptions when it comes to entrepreneurship or what's required to build a business. A lot of people have these opinions that just simply are not realistic. They simply are not realistic. They simply are not realistic. So I wanted to come today to talk about creating versus implementation and discuss the truth behind building a business. And one of the things that the person in the email said was that, they had paid thousands of dollars to some coaches who gave them some templates and showed them how to do things, but then they were expected to, you know, call people to sell more books, send emails, do this and do that. And in the email, she said, if I've written the book, I shouldn't have to do X, Y, and Z. Somebody should do that for me. And I was like, whoa, whoa. She was like, I just want to show up and speak. She was like, I'm great with creating. I love creating, but I don't want to do any of that. I just want to show up and speak. And what I realized is that a lot of people erroneously have this same type of mindset that they can just create the thing and then just pay somebody else to market or pay somebody else to sell for them. So let's talk about it, because when you hire a coach or when you hire a consultant, typically when you're hiring a consultant, you are paying for the blueprint. You're paying for the step by step. You're paying for the shortcut. That means, it's especially if you've chosen a good one, you're paying for the shortcut to go from A to Z. They're giving you the blueprint. They're giving you the roadmap. They're telling you what to say. They're telling you what to do. They're telling you how to do things. That does not absolve you of responsibility from actually doing the thing. Like, you still have to put in the work. And what I find is that a lot of people like to create, but then implementation is a different story. They want to complain about it. Oh, well, especially those who are still, working careers. Oh, well, I'm expected to work. Then I have to watch the trainings. Then I have to make time to implement it. And I'm like, absolutely. If you want to effectively supplement, or if you want to replace your job, you have to make the time to make it happen. So here's the thing. There's a thing called sweat equity that a lot of people forget. And a lot of people tend to think that they can, pay for a program or pay a coach, and then there's going to be magic dust sprinkled and everything is going to happen. No, there's a such thing called sweat equity, and there's a such thing called implementation. And then there's a thing called undoing your learning. So let's actually start with the end first. Undoing your learning. Especially for those of us who are credentialed, or we feel like especially for those people who are already credentialed, or they feel like, they've already created a book, they've created a thing, and now they just need to put it out there. Traditional school teaches us that all you have to do is learn the information. You have to learn the information, show up for a class, maybe do a paper or take a test, and then you're done. That is not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is going to require you to undo your levels of thinking. Entrepreneurship is going to challenge you. It's going to require you to learn and do. And here's the thing. Even if you quote unquote hire someone to do something for you, there's still a baseline of information and there's still a baseline of knowledge that you have to come to the table with. There's still things that you have to do. So for example, if this person who said they don't want to do nothing, they just want to show up, if they were to go hire a publicist, or if they were going to go hire a marketing agency, there's still a baseline of information that they will have to provide up front in terms of their target audience, in terms of the characteristics, in terms of the details of what they're doing, in order for the marketing agency to effectively work. I cannot tell you all how many times I have met people or even worked with former clients who, prior to coming to me, they paid agencies upwards of $30,000 to $50,000 to do certain things for them. And you know what? Those agencies took their money and none of the things worked. None of the things work. That's what happens when you're totally hands off and you don't know your craft well enough. But back to my point, traditional schooling teaches us that we just have to show up, learn the information, maybe do a little bit for a grade, and then go on to the next thing. Traditional schooling might give you a syllabus, give you an outline, tell you everything to do. The teacher is going to assign you to groups, this, that, and the third. Entrepreneurship is not like that. Entrepreneurship requires you to put your boots on the ground. Entrepreneurship is going to require you to modify your own schedule and have some own self-regulation so that you can do the work and then get the results. Entrepreneurship is going to require you to create, to learn, to implement and execute, and then rinse and repeat it time and time and time again. Entrepreneurship is going to require you, especially when you're stepping into the space of CEO, it's going to require you to put your own schedules together, to create your own deadlines. Yes, you can hire out. Yes, you can outsource like a project manager or something like that to help hold you accountable, but you still have to be responsible for doing the work. It's going to require a certain level of focus and discipline, likely that you haven't seen before. Because when you're on your job, you have your boss telling you, this is what's due, this is how it needs to be, this is when it's due by. Entrepreneurship, you are the boss. So to come into any type of program or to go into any type of endeavor, wanting to be an entrepreneur, wanting to be a CEO, and then expecting someone else to actually tell you, this is when it's due by, this, that, and the third, we're going to do all this. Yes, you can have that level of support, but typically that comes with a different level of investment. And this is where we have to start getting our expectations in check. If you're able to shortcut your entire process and get an entire blueprint and clarity when you typically didn't have any, and accomplish something in 3 to 6 months that you haven't even been able to accomplish in years on your own, that alone is a success. And then after that, typically comes the financial success after you put in your reps, after you do the work, after you show up. But when you all hire consultants, you and unless the consultant that you've hired has agreed that their package comes with some done for you, like an agency component, it is unrealistic of you to go into a program or to hire a coach or consultant and then expect them to do the work for you that you're supposed to be doing on your own. It just is what it is. Entrepreneurship requires a level of implementation. It's going to require a level of focus, and it's going to require you to shift your mindset, because you got to understand that where you are right now is a result of what you've already learned. It's a result of your current thinking patterns. It's a result of your current knowledge. It's a result of your current level of execution. But when you want something different, you literally have to become a different person. And becoming a different person requires that you're going to have to approach things differently. You're going to have to think differently. You're going to have to implement differently. So that means, yes, especially those of you all who are building your business while you are working, this means that you are going to have to create the time to actually work the business and work to build the business that you say that you want. You cannot wait for anybody or expect anybody else to tell you what time you should be doing certain things. We can guide you through things, take you through a time audit, through how to look at your time, how you're assess how you're managing your time, determine what you can eliminate, what you can eliminate to create space, and then based on that create a plan for yourself. But at the end of the day, you still have to do it. You cannot get caught up in the, I love creating, I just want somebody else to do all the work and I show up. You absolutely can. That's called hiring. You've hired your coach or you've hired your consultant to give you the blueprint to make it done, to actually make it happen. But the implementation of the thing means that you then go hire either contractors, you go hire gig workers, or you go hire employees to actually do the thing to build your business. All right. Here's the second thing you need to know, especially those of you all who are in the growing phase while you are still working your 9 to 5. And even after that, you have to put in the time equity. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this. It's either number 1, you're going to put in the time to learn, implement, and execute upfront on your own, or you're going to put up the money to pay somebody else to implement the time, to implement everything for you. So like, for example, in our consulting program, I run group consulting programs. We give the whole entire blueprint, the whole entire layout. But I am not going to be the one, especially at the price point that we charge, to actually implement and execute the thing that we're teaching our clients to do. That's the point of a vendors list. Here are some vetted vendors that you can hire. You can either do this yourself. If you want to do this yourself, this is how you do it, step by step by step. Or you can go hire a contractor, show them this, and you can pay them to implement it and execute it for you. If you want me and my team to do it, that's a separate service, different than the coaching, different than the consulting, different than the retreats, different than the guiding. Like, those are 2 separate things. So I think that when you all are coming into entrepreneurship, you have to have a realistic view of what is going to be required. So if you are unwilling or you don't have the capacity to learn the thing and then go implement it and execute it on your own, because that's going to require time, then you're going to likely have to go hire somebody to do it for you. Does this make sense? Using the roadmap that we provided. Or you're going to have to pay that consultant a done for you fee in order for them to do it, because that's the separate labor cost. So you're either going to put in your own time to learn the thing and to then do the thing, or you're going to put up money to learn the thing and then to outsource the execution of the thing. And now, since you know how to do it, because why? You got a coach and a consultant telling you how to do it. Now you know how to even tell whether or not the person that you're hiring is doing a good job. I hope this makes sense, because some people have some really skewed expectations. So she sent this. This was not a client. This was somebody that signed up for a workshop, and they got an email about my live event, Published and Paid Live. So she sent in an email in responding to the email I sent out talking about, I've paid coaches thousands of dollars and I've gotten this, I've gotten that, but then I'm left to do it on my own. Yeah. Unless you've paid them to do it for you. Or unless you go hire someone to do it for you. Those are two different things. This is why you have to be very clear about the questions that you ask, about understanding what you're getting before you sign up for something, and even accepting that when you sign up for something, that's what you're going to get, and owning your responsibility in that process. Because a lot of people will sign up for things up front, knowing good and well, this is what you're going to learn. It don't say anything about we're going to do anything for you. But then when it's time for you to do the work, then you start complaining, because really you're just being lazy and you're not being coachable because you don't want to do the work. So that means if you don't want to actually learn the thing and then implement it and execute it, then you got to be willing to go pay somebody to implement the thing for you, instead of sending in emails where you're complaining about literally doing the work. Doing the work is different from learning. Learning and implementation are two different things. Creating and implementation are two different things. This is why there are so many authors who have books, but they're not selling anything, because they're not willing to make the calls, because they're not willing to get on live and talk about their book, because they're not willing to pitch themselves to be on podcasts. They're not willing to do the work. They just want to miraculously show up and talk when they haven't even built the groundwork of building a brand. Like, why should anybody even bring you on their platform just because you got a book? The book you wrote, especially if you wrote it by yourself or published it yourself, it might not even be good quality. It might look amateur as I don't know what. And then you sit up here, have in your ego, talk about, I just want to show up and talk. Why should anybody bring you on their stage? What results do you have? What body of work do you have to prove that you are who you say you are? What have you done to substantiate that you can actually bring something valuable to somebody else's audience? That's ego and that's arrogance. For you to think that just because you create something, it's good enough for you to go hold space on somebody else's platform, but you don't have anything else to show that you, or to demonstrate, or to communicate that you are who you say you are. You are out of your mind. Out of your mind. And let me tell you this, if you have that type of attitude and ego and just level of being egotistical and arrogance, you are going to stay broke. You're going to stay hidden. Yes, you have to be willing to do the work. You got to pitch yourself and document that process so that when you outsource that task to somebody else, you can know exactly how to train them. It's either that, or else you're going to go hire somebody who are an agency who focuses on pitching experts for podcasts, you're going to be paying a retainer of thousands per month. A lot of people starting out do not have that type of capital, which means, guess what, baby? You're going to have to watch the videos, implement, and stop the whining and the crying because you got to put in the work. Yes, there are agencies out there that will pitch on your behalf. There are agencies out there that will pitch you on podcasts. They will pitch you for the media. That's called having a publicist as well. But in order to have a good one, you're talking about thousands of dollars either per quarter or on a monthly retainer. And like I said, most people do not have that type of capital to pay on a monthly basis, especially to take that risk for it to flop, because you don't even know how to articulate what you do. And you don't have a body of work to substantiate anything you've done. Some folks are so in a rush to quote unquote be seen that they won't even do the work that's required for you to hold space to be seen, if that makes sense. So like once you get on somebody's stage, what you gonna say? What you gonna do? How are you gonna impact that crowd outside of talking about yourself? What are they going to get from you being there? Especially if you are already complaining just about doing the work. So this is where we have to really be honest with ourselves. Do I really want a business, or do I just want the idea, or do I like the idea of having a business? Because even when you hire, even when you outsource, there is still going to be some things you're going to have to learn. And there are still going to have to be there's still going to be some things that you are going to have to execute. But as long as you stay in this space of, oh, I wrote the book and I did this and I paid this person to teach me, but I paid them thousands of dollars and they should just do the work for me. No, you paid them for the shortcut. You paid them for the accountability. You paid them for the ongoing coaching. You paid them for their resources so that you don't have to go out here and scrounge up resources from strangers that you don't even know if they're plagiarized. You don't know if they're authentic or anything. You paying them for access to their brain and access to their network and access to their information. Paying them to do the work for you, that's a separate service. We got to get our expectations under control. Because what I realize is that a lot of people are doing things and expecting something totally different than what they're doing, and that's a you problem, especially if it's all laid out for you. But it's not just a you problem. It identifies an area in which you have to grow. And what happened? And what happens? Anytime growth happens, there's discomfort. And it's the discomfort that people don't like. Think about it. Like my son, he's 8 years old. A lot of you all that have been following me for a long time, y'all are OGs. Y'all have been seeing my son since he was a baby in my lap. My son, what happens when a child grows? Their shoes become tight. They start talking about their feet hurt. The shirts that they wear get too small. The pants start fitting differently. There's discomfort there. There's discomfort because they're growing. And what they used to be able to fit into comfortably, they're now outgrowing it. And it's a pinch here. There's a pull there. There's a tightness there. And the only way to get comfortable is to what? Up level. Is to get some new clothes, get some new shoes, do some different things so that they're not uncomfortable anymore. The same goes true for you when you are growing your business. When you are growing and shifting, especially if you have a coach or consultant pushing you to grow, yes, there's going to be some discomfort. There's going to be some ouch. I don't feel like doing this. Ooh, this is a little bit uncomfortable. Oh, this is a little bit scary. But it is to push you to your next level. Or else what's going to happen? You're going to continue to have the desire that you have and stay in your current circumstances and refuse to grow. And then it's going to feel like you're suffocating because you know that there's more that you should be doing, but you're refusing to do. Then it's going to feel like you're suffocating or like you've outgrown your space, but you can't figure out, you're supposed to be doing more, but you can't figure out how to actually make it happen because you are being your own bottleneck because you are refusing to do different things that's required at your next level. Like you can't go to your next level being the same exact way that you are right now. You cannot succeed on your next level being the exact same way that you are right now. What's going to happen? Years are going to go by. And then the regret will set in because then it'll start. What's going to happen? Years will go by, and eventually the regret will set in because at that point it's like, man, I've been wanting to do this for years and I haven't done anything. Or it's I've invested in this and this and that, and I didn't show up the way I should have. And you will start feeling some level of regret because you didn't do nothing except for waste time and make excuses. And then you realize months later or years later that when you finally decide to do it, it wasn't as difficult as you were making it out to be, and you really could have done it months or years before. Wasted time. There's always an opportunity cost with everything. So I have to ask you, what is the cost that you're paying just by being complacent and by complaining? What opportunities are you gaining by having a growth mindset and by implementing and showing up and for allowing yourself to get uncomfortable and be stretched? Because when you want something different, you don't complain about it, you do something different. And you stick in with it even when it's difficult. All right, I hope that this was helpful for you all. I just absolutely had to come and talk about this because I'm like, I know that if one person sent an email in like this, or if some other people have said something like this, absolutely has to be addressed. And the thing that has to be addressed is you. You have to look at your own mindset. Like if you say, well, when I feel such and such and such and such, I just shut down and don't do nothing at all. That's a trigger for you. That's a warning for you. Not for you to say, not for you to stay there in that space and say, I just don't do nothing at all. Then you have to ask yourself, why do I sit there and do nothing at all and accept that as okay for my life? Why when I feel challenged by something that I fall back and get into a space of paralysis where I take no action. And I know that about myself, but I refuse to do anything to change it. What in me allows that to be okay? You got to start unwrapping this and removing the layers. Because only when you get to the bottom of that are you really going to understand what makes you tick and how and why you need to grow. Or else that's going to remain your operating pattern. Like all of us have operating patterns, and typically, we resort to our level of training. When you want different results, you got to train differently. And this is why you hire a coach. This is why you hire a consultant to help you train differently. Now, if you just are totally resistant to it, then you'll stay where you are. You won't be the CEO that you desire to be. Okay. Listen, guys, registration is now open for my live event, Published and Paid Live. Tickets are going up on Friday, March 1st, so you can save $500 by securing your ticket between today and tomorrow. Okay, you can go to www.publishedandpaidlive to secure your registration. Published and Paid Live is the only 2-day event of its kind. It is a training and implementation event. So yes, we're going to have fun. We have the music. We have a party in the room, but we work. We get to the work. We have coaching up until the event, coaching in the event, and space for implementation. So if you're looking to be in a room with 100 leaders working to take their writing, their speaking, and their consulting businesses to the next level, Published and Paid Live is for you. You can go to www.publishedandpaidlive.com, all right, to secure your spot and save $500 before ticket prices increase March 1st, all right? I will see you guys soon. I hope that this was valuable for you guys. You guys have a great rest of your day. Make it great for somebody else.